You only live once, right? Quite a famous phrase. And according to new reporting from The Atlantic, that's how President Trump is viewing his second term. Increasingly, he is focused on becoming one of history's so-called great men, with someone close to the president saying he sees himself as possibly the most powerful person to ever live. MS Now political analyst Ashley Parker reports, quote, his passion for his personal projects has begun bleeding into daily work as president. He suddenly switched from talking about the war to boasting about his plans for hand-carved Corinthian columns as part of his $400 million White House ballroom. But for voters, it's the day-to-day costs that really stand out. Higher gas prices and tighter budgets, showing the dichotomy here between Trump's legacy building and what Americans are feeling.
Do you think the ballroom should be the focus of the president right now?
No, sir.
There's so much going on right now. I think that's the last thing that we should be worrying about.
I think it's probably money that could be used elsewhere, you know what I'm saying, with the way the economy is, and people are starving, you know.
There's a lot of things we need to work on before we're doing a ballroom.
The president's talking about a ballroom. And Jimmy Kimmel.
He shouldn't be doing that. He should be focusing on lowering these prices that he jacked up.
Ashley Parker joins us now for more on her reporting in The Atlantic. Ashley, you write that the Trump administration, rather President Trump specifically, is determined to secure a place among history's great men in the vein of Alexander the Great, Napoleon, or Julius Caesar. Walk us through what you've learned.
Sure. So my colleague Michael Shear and I had heard that Trump had privately in conversations begun comparing himself to those three men you just named, and we weren't sure how. And then we heard from one person that someone had handed him something. They thought maybe an essay or a poem. They weren't quite sure. Another top White House official told us that last year Trump heard a speech at his golf course where the speaker sort of put Trump in that broad scope of history. It named some of those men, also Genghis Khan. So we did a little sort of armchair historical research and immediately alighted on Hegel, who has this theory. He gave these lectures that were then written down on these world historical men, and he specifically writes about this very triumvirate. And so we went to the White House and sort of asked, is Donald Trump an unlikely Hegel scholar? And the answer was no. They basically laughingly dismissed our theory. But he has been likening himself to these men. And it's part of this sense of himself where he sees himself, as you mentioned, as one of the most powerful people to ever live, as a great man doing great things. And you are seeing in his second term, we sort of dub it his YOLO presidency, but someone who is unburdened by ever facing voters again. And there's sort of this unleashing of ambition, and the guardrails are gone, and more of a sense that he can follow his whims. And we are seeing that everywhere from the ballroom to some of this foreign adventurism in Iran. And it is not very popular, as that clip you just played shows, with the voters. And a number of Republicans are privately frustrated because while Donald Trump may not have to face voters again and is not behaving like a traditional leader of a party in a midterm cycle, his party most certainly does. And these things are hurting them politically.
We just saw some live images while you were talking, Ashley, of the president kind of having a final photo op moment with King Charles and Queen Camilla, along with the First Lady there at the White House before the King and Queen head back overseas. But it is a fitting moment as you're talking about the president wanting to be one of the great as he is having these meetings with a king. We've witnessed quite a list now of controversial moves related to what appeared to be Trump branding projects this term, like the president putting his name on the Kennedy Center or the U.S. Institute of Peace. There's the proposal for a 250-foot tall arc that would tower over the Lincoln Memorial, redesigning the White House grounds, the controversial ballroom project, tearing down the East Wing, even putting his face on commemorative passports, and the list goes on and on. Why has this become such a central focus of the president's agenda in his second term? What is this really about?
Sure. So on the one hand, this is who Donald Trump fundamentally is, has always been. He's a developer. He's a brander. He understands the power of putting your name on buildings, of building tangible things that can't be overturned, like legislation by the next president to come after you. But this is also in mind with a legacy. And the last thing I will say is he is hardly the only president who fancies himself a great man of history and would love an arch in his name or an airport in his name. But he is the only one to sort of personally lead that charge himself as a sitting president.
Ashley Parker, thank you for sharing your reporting with us.